It's the big three that they know they've been able to toehold. Um, no gender affirming care for minors. Um, no transgender girls, right? Because they're not worried about men in sports. No transgender girls playing girls' sports. And using the restrooms. So the big three. Um,
Public restrooms, or is this to do with just schools?
the girls' restrooms and locker rooms. So
Okay,
it's
it's public
schools.
schools.
Oh, and of course the forced outing, notifying parents. And it's interesting because so they're trying to get they need the ballots and the signatures. But one thing is I noticed about it, Students First California Committee.
Were they wearing stormtrooper outfits?
Well, where else have we heard Students First? Right here in Virginia Beach.
Oh, this is true. I
That's
it's
who sponsors all of the conservative members of our school board that have pushed the forced outing policies, that have
Are they
pushed
even students?
the transgender policies and the book bans and all of that is a Students First group. And so you're seeing this active push that is happening in other states, um, now even making its way into places like California, trying to push um, these same hateful discriminatory laws in their schools.
Well, there's a couple upsides to this, to the darkness. Always, like, if you
Mm-hmm.
look, there's light to be found. If they are able to push something like this in California, the appellate courts, the federal district courts out there are much more amenable, and hopefully will be able to give rulings and things that will help overturn these things quickly, as we've seen in several states. And then also it sets us up potentially for test case, depending on the nature of that could potentially rule in our favor. I don't know if we could get that with the SCOTUS, but again, it's a matter about finding the right cases and being able to defend the right circumstances. It's still a horror that we have to go through this to be able to eat like this darkness at
See
all.
some of the same fighting back, and that's part of it with some of these things. You're right, because like what you've seen happen in Texas and some of those states, well, they'll pass a law, create a law that they know is illegal, they know is going to get challenged, because the point of that is to then take it through
All
a
the way to
favorable judge in Texas and a favorable area, and use that to get it passed up to the Supreme
Supreme Court.
Court and set that legal precedent on the way up. But in California, they'll hopefully use some of that same tactic and do the
Well, that
same thing. But then if you don't necessarily want stuff going to this Supreme Court.
Well, that's the whole thing. They don't like, even when it comes to the way that they're playing this, they know they can't overplay their hand. They can't have Amy Coney Barrett, member of the ADF, come in and rule on this sort of stuff and do 5-4 decisions. So a lot of times, getting these appellate or federal judges to make these rulings gives the Supreme Court the ability to abuse their shadow docket,
Mm-hmm.
the ability for them to not take cases, or for them to make certain rulings on certain injunctions and certain things that need to be done without actually having a full court case.